Hi, my name is Zach Simmons, and this is Pro Football Today. Right now is mid-May, which means it is time for my predictions. So for the next few months, each of my videos is going to be predictions on how I think a certain division is going to look like. This is what I did last season. Had, I think, the most success out of any of my videos doing those. So if you want to take a look at what I did last year, check out my channel. See what I predicted last year. Some of them spot on. Most of them not so much. Then if you're a big fan of my Chicago Bears journal, don't worry. I'm going to try to put some videos together here next sometime next few months. This is kind of a lull period of the NFL offseason now. A whole lot of stuff is going on. So if something pops up, I'll make sure to do a video about it. If you're a little disappointed that I'm not having anything about the Bears. So started us off last year with the AFC North, so why not start it off with the AFC North this year? Last year, I got some things right with the AFC North. I got a lot of things wrong. Put Baltimore number 3, number 1 in conference. Not going to make that same mistake today. Maybe that's a little hint of what's going to be coming at the end of this video. But at number 4, I am putting the Cincinnati Bengals back at number 4. Now this is I'm not mean to disrespect any Bengals fans. It's not because, well, they were last place last year, so they must be last place this year. No. I like some of the things they've done. They're still in rebuild mode. So even though the Bengals went and grabbed Joe Burrow, does not mean doesn't mean that he's the reason why they're going to make playoffs now that they drafted him. Bengals will be in the playoffs for sure. No, it's going to take a little bit some time. They need to rebuild. They need to rebuild that offensive line and that linebacking core, most of all. And the linebacking core they got started on in the draft. But the reason I have them as number 4 is you typically think the worst team in the NFL, well, they need a quarterback. Solve the quarterback position, and that should be it. That's not the case with the Bengals. Dalton was not perfect, but Dalton was not the reason why they were last place. There's a lot of different factors. Defense wasn't up to the task. They handled that a lot in free agency, grabbing Trey Waynes and Mackenzie Alexander to help out the secondary. Also adding DJ Reader. This is a huge sign. I think the biggest signing for the Cincinnati Bengals is getting DJ Reader helping out this defensive line. This is already a decent defensive line with Carlos Dunlap and Geno Atkins. Yes, they're not in their prime anymore. They're definitely past their prime, but they're still very good players. So adding DJ Reader into that line, this is going to be a scary line. But one of the issues is they still don't have that linebacking core. They really haven't had this since Vontaze Burfict was suspended a few years back. I'm not sure the last time he played in a Bengals uniform. It seems like forever ago. But a lot of their issues also on the offensive line. So adding Burrow is definitely an upgrade to Dalton. Not bashing them grabbing Burrow. They needed to grab Burrow. I'm just very disappointed that they didn't grab any offensive lineman really in this draft who could help out. They did grab one offensive lineman free agency, but I don't know. Taking a look at how the Browns handled their offensive line, even how Tampa restructured their offensive line to help out Tom Brady. That's what you got to do. You don't want a rookie quarterback. I said this last year with Kyler Murray. You don't want a rookie quarterback behind a mediocre line. It's not going to be good. And with Kyler, we saw some instances where it really wasn't that good. A lot of that can be because of the offensive line play. But because they didn't help with the offensive line, but also because this receiving core is not spectacular without A.J. Green. With A.J. Green, this is a pretty decent receiving core. To have John Ross as your number 3 option is not that bad. But last year, of course, Green was injured for the entire season. Tyler Boyd was a decent option, but you're in trouble if Tyler Boyd is your number 1 option. If your number 2 option, okay. That's pretty decent. But as your number 1, not so much. And John Ross he was in and out with injuries. Even then, he was very inconsistent. He was able to make big plays when he was able to catch the ball. The guy has crazy speed, able to run past anyone, but the problem is his hands. He doesn't have the best hands. Doesn't have the worst I've seen by far, but definitely doesn't have the best. So to have him as your number 2, to have Auden Tate as your number 3, it was spelling. You can tell that Dalton was going to have problems if you saw what his receiving core is going to look like. And of course, Tyler Eifert really has been inconsistent, mainly because of injury. This year, no Tyler Eifert. So it's going to heavily rely on how good is AJ Green, first of all, and is AJ Green completely healthy? Will he be able to play every single game this season, or will he be out a few games? Joe Burrow is going to need AJ Green. Having a receiver like that helps tremendously for even the best rookie quarterback that you can find. He's going to need someone he can trust. And AJ Green's a very dependable player when he's healthy. But because of all these different factors, I don't see them going above last place. Maybe they can go third place if Burrow plays to what everyone's kind of hoping he's going to play to. But with this, with the receiving core, it's completely built around AJ Green. If AJ Green's good, I think you might be able to see Cincinnati up there, number 3. I think it's safe to put them down number 4. But a lot of it definitely goes to this offensive line. I think the offensive line might be the biggest factor of anything on this team. They need this offensive line to work. If they don't work, you're not going to get Mixon going. Mixon had kind of a rough year last year. He wasn't awful, that's for sure. But he could have been a lot better if he had a better line than what he was given. So Cincinnati, number 4. Number 3, I actually have the Pittsburgh Steelers here. Now, I love the Steelers. I know they almost played playoffs last year. They looked decent under Mason Rudolph. Their defense looked great. But the issue here is, once again, will Big Ben play? It's kind of the same thing with AJ Green, except this entire offense needs Ben Roethlisberger to work. Mason Rudolph made things click a little bit, but really wasn't at their true potential because you couldn't rely on Rudolph in the passing game. Big Ben, they're a passing team. It's a passing team. Then you rely a little bit on James Conner. But James Conner's not that kind of feature back that the team has to run through him. He's not like Todd Gurley, or at least how Todd Gurley was a couple years ago. And he's not like Ezekiel Elliott. With Dallas, people say, well, it's Dak controlling the team. It's really Ezekiel Elliott controlling the team. They need the run game. The run game is what pushes the pass game. That's what Mason Rudolph needs, and that's not the kind of back that James Conner is. He's not a pound, and then pass. No, that's not what the Steelers work towards. Steelers are a passing team first. That's why Juju didn't have that great of a season. A lot of it also has to do with Big Ben likes to throw deep. Juju likes getting the deep passes. He's a big playmaker, and with Rudolph's style of play, it doesn't translate very well for Juju Smith-Schuster. So that's where you saw Juju kind of step down a little bit. So anyway, if Big Ben misses a good amount of time this season, I don't see him grabbing second place. I think Cleveland's done enough with their offense. I don't like their defense, but I think they've helped out their offense enough that maybe they can take the number 2 spot if Big Ben is hurt. And I think it's a safe prediction to make that Big Ben will not play every single game this season. Very rarely in the last 6 years has he played a full season. For a few years there, he kept getting. He would get hurt for about maybe a game, between 1 and 3 games. He'll be out. Landry Jones will take over. Then with this injury being out for the entire season, before this, Big Ben didn't have a very good injury history, and this just makes matters worse. Will he be the same coming back from injury? I don't see why not. He's come back before after injury and he's played very, very well. The main question here is, will he get hurt again? I think that's a very fair question to ask. And I think it's safer to say that he's going to miss a few games rather than saying that he's going to play the entire season. So because of that, that's definitely going to be a factor in a few games. I like what Cleveland's done this offseason. I'll share about that here in just a sec. But Pittsburgh, I don't see them. They're not going to fall to 4th. I don't see that happening anytime soon. They're not going to fall on the 4th. But I don't see him grabbing going to the second place. Only if Big Ben is at his top game, and if he doesn't miss one game. I think you might be able to see Pittsburgh there number 2. And in fact, I think there's a chance you might see him in playoffs. But I think it's safe to say he's going to get hurt. And with that, It doesn't really matter where else they did on the defense or offense. I do love the Eric Ebron signing. I think he's a very good tight end. Alongside Vance McDonald, they should be a really good pair, but I don't see Pittsburgh going that number 2 spot, assuming Big Ben is hurt. So number 2, I do have the Cleveland Browns here. Number 2, I have them. Number 2 last year said you might see him in playoffs. I'm not going to jump on the Freddie Kitchens train just yet. I'm not going to jump on the Browns train like apparently a lot of the people in the media decide to do. Once again, I'll pick him number 2, but no playoffs. No playoffs for the Cleveland Browns. Main reason is their defense. They lost a lot on the defense, mainly Christian Kirksey and Joe Schobert. Both of them were incredible linebackers for the Cleveland Browns last year. If you're a fantasy lover, Cleveland Browns were a very good defense to have. And those two really made it. So without them, it definitely hurts. And to replace them only with B.J. Goodson, that's going to hurt. It's going to take him some time to replenish that defense. Not super long. It's not like it's going to take him 5 years to replenish that defense. It might just take a year. It could take in season. They could trade for someone or something. So it's definitely fixable. But as of right now, it doesn't look that great. I think Grant Delpit, he's taking the place of Demarius Randall. I think that's a good fit. But we won't really know for sure until the season starts, assuming the season starts on time. Fingers crossed. But I love what the Browns have done on the offense, though. If Baker Mayfield can get back to where he was his rookie season, because this year really was not a good year. Not as good as what everyone thought he was going to be, especially with having arguably the best receiving core, and it gets better now with Austin Hooper. Now, you might be saying, why did they grab Hooper? Does that mean Njoku's out? Why would they have both of them? This is the reason. Stefanski, if you remember last year, he loves his 2 tight end systems. I believe it was Irv Smith that they drafted. Minnesota did. And they loved having him and Kyle Rudolph. And I apologize if I got that name right. This is what happens when you don't when you don't do any corrections or anything. Anyway, sorry. But Stefanski does love his 2 tight end systems. I think you'll see a good combo between Hooper and Njoku. Fantasy-wise, I'm not sure I'd grab either one of them. The problem is adding Hooper's going to lower Njoku's stock, and I think the same thing goes for Hooper. But Hooper has been a very reliable tight end for the last 2 years. Arguably the best tight end of last season. So right now, I would say the Browns easily have the best receiving core in the league. Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham, Njoku, Austin Hooper. And they did bring back Higgins, and of course they have Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt to also help out a little bit in that pass game, especially Kareem Hunt. This Browns offense looks very good. I love what they did in this line. This is what teams need to do with their young quarterbacks, is make sure they have weapons to throw to and also make sure they're well protected. There's a lot of teams that could take notes on what the Browns have done the last couple seasons. They go and grab Jack Conklin, one of the best tackles in the league, and maybe the best tackle in the league. They grab him to help out the line, and they draft Wills. They're the 10th pick. This is what you do when you have a young quarterback. You make sure they have the best case scenario to succeed, and that's what Mayfield has. There's only one problem. That's going to be the coaching. This is the one reason the number 2, number 3 spot between Cleveland and Pittsburgh is going to be shaky. It's going to be very, very close. The only downfall to the Browns right now, I don't think it's Mayfield. I don't think it's the defense. I think it's Stefanski. I said this before in one of my videos that the Browns are going to pick that one guy you're thinking, but why him? Why him? Out of all these guys, why did you choose him? And I think that's what they did with Stefanski. Minnesota's offense was not spectacular last season. It was okay. They did Dalvin Cook was exceptional, but the problem was they couldn't figure out at that point, are they a running team? Are they a passing team? Kirk Cousins couldn't get in the zone. And it took them a while to kind of figure that out. But another thing with Stefanski, doesn't scream Freddie Kitchens. He's not going to be as bad as Freddie Kitchens. That was a mistake. Everyone knew it was a mistake. It reminded me of San Fran picking Jim Tomsula. I wasn't sold on Kitchens. I thought maybe this can work. I would have thought having him as an offensive coordinator, I would have thought promoting Greg Williams would have been the best decision out if you're going to promote anyone to head coach. A couple years back, Greg Williams made the most sense to me, but of course they choose something that doesn't make any sense. Sorry, Browns fans, but it's true. This one kind of reminded me of Rod Jasinski, Eric Mangini, Hugh Jackson. That is one of those guys that may have worked a little bit in the system, but didn't have a whole lot of success. But the Browns chose him anyway to see what would happen, and it's not going to end well for Stefanski. He'll be out in a couple years. I hope, because I have to admit I'm somewhat of a closet Browns fan. I've always wanted the Browns to succeed, but a lot of the Browns have been coaching. I think this is the next coach that is going to be ousted. Hopefully it does work. But I think that's the big piece right here. I think I said it last year with Freddie Kitchens. The big piece is going to be what will Kitchens be doing as a head coach? I think the same thing goes with Stefanski. What's going to help the Browns maybe get to that playoff spot is going to be Stefanski. It's going to be his coaching. It's not going to be can the defense figure things out. It's not going to be can Baker Mayfield play to his top potential. It's going to be how good of a head coach is Stefanski. How good of a leader is him? Is he? Can he lead a winning football team? And that's something that is going to be fun to watch here in the 2020 season. But first place, I'm not going to make the same mistake again. Going to pick the Baltimore Ravens. I think they've gotten better. They had Patrick Queen there at linebacker. Complete steal. You can thank Green Bay for picking up Jordan Love if you're a Ravens fan. There's no way Queen should have made it that far. Queen should have gone to Green Bay. Green Bay decides to pick up a quarterback because that's a necessity for them, apparently. I know that's a sore spot for Packers fans, but being a Bears fan, it's okay. But also, the J.K. Dobbins sign, I think there was a little... That surprised me. I wasn't expecting a running back going to Baltimore. That's the same thing last year that, well, this running back core looks kind of weird. What's going to happen when they added Mark Ingram? I'm not too worried about the running back core. They'll figure something out. It'll be fine. But Ravens should win number one. Should win the AFC North. I'll be surprised if they don't. I don't think there's any other team that can take it. Baltimore should be number one. Now, will I say they're going to be number one in the conference? I'm leaning towards no. Very rarely do you see a team. They kind of came out of nowhere. I know they made the playoffs the year before, but they kind of came out of nowhere. No one expected the Ravens to be the number one in conference. No one expected Lamar Jackson to be the MVP. So a lot of those teams just kind of make the surprise jump. Very rarely go back to that same spot the next year. Look at the Vikings a couple years ago. Look at the Eagles. Look at the Rams. All those teams completely fell. Vikings and Eagles were able to make playoffs next year, but at the same time, they weren't back up to where they were before. So that's what I have for the Baltimore Ravens. I think number 2, number 3 seed. They're going to make playoffs. It's a given. Winning the AFC North. But not going to be as good. I don't see Lamar Jackson. It's not so much I think, oh, that's just a lucky shot. It's really hard to repeat that. It's really hard to do better than that, what they did. It's possible. It's definitely possible, but it's really hard to get back to that spot. So that's what I have right here for the AFC North. Get the Bengals down number 4. As another rebuilding season. Just wait till next year. Maybe, just maybe, they can get to that 3 or 2 spot. Number 3, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Expecting Big Ben to get hurt. That's going to cause them to fall. Otherwise, they can be easily number 2 if Big Ben can play every game. Number 2, I have Cleveland. They're not going to make playoffs. And it really depends on Stefanski. If he can be the good leader, they should be at number 2. If he crashes like Kitchens last year or like Hugh Jackson, you're going to see Cleveland proud at number 3. Pittsburgh, even with Big Ben playing at least, or at the most, a half a season, you might see Pittsburgh there number 2. It really depends on how Cleveland does. It depends on how Cleveland, how Stefanski works as a coach. It really depends on if Big Ben's healthy for that number 2, number 3 spot. It'll be close. It'll be very close. And then Baltimore, of course, the reigning champs in the AFC North. They'll be there again. They'll be in the playoffs for sure. Obviously, have to win the AFC North. But I'm not expecting them to be the top seed again. I'm expecting probably the Chiefs to be up there. Maybe a surprise team. We'll talk about that here after these predictions are done. I'll have my playoff predictions, my Super Bowl prediction. But that's what I have for this episode. If there's anything you like, anything you dislike, please put in the comments. Before you click that thumbs up or that thumbs down, put in the comments why. Why did you like this video? Why did you not like this video? Did I say something smart? Did I say something stupid? Put it in there. I love reading them. I don't care the positive or negative. Put them in there. Put them in the comments. And if you like these kind of videos, I'll be doing this for the next few months. Every single week, you'll see a new video for a new division. This exact same kind of thing. So definitely subscribe if you like these kind of videos. Thank you so much for watching, though. I hope you have a good rest of your day.